Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys.
I'm talking about we're beaten.
We're not beaten.
I'm not beaten. We're in this game. Anybody here tired?
No.
Sonny, not tired. Holt?
I'm just warming up, Sheriff.
Connor?
I'm ready, John.
Bertie, you with us?
Yep.
Good. Because the Rangers are starting to breathe through their mouths. The strides are getting shorter. Do not give these guys too much respect. They didn't pull a dog sled, did they?
No.
Didn't skate the river, did they?
No.
This is our pond.
Now Cameron Hughes gets the ran over the line. Clean pass for Morrison across. The shot, they score! Ryan Winterton and the Firebirds take the lead. 6:08 to go in the first period. Logan Morrison right up the tape for Winterton. And Coachella Valley out in front for the first time in the series.
You know they just want you to bleed, right? I'm here to do whatever they need me to do. You know, if they need me to bleed, then I'll bleed for my team.
Let's go. Pretty boy. Let's go.
Introduce yourself.
Jim. My name's also Jim.
Problem solved.
Thanks, James.
Now, as far as serving the tendy goes, if they're shooting, you're getting your body in front of it. Everybody blocking shots. All you useless guys, blocking shots, bugging Appledorns. Now everybody knows the role. Eh, Sanguinet?
Everyone knows the role. Everyone does their job.
Yeah, so.
For Parsonen, McCormick tries to jam it loose in front, comes to Del Gaizo, pass broken up, John Hayden coming in shorthanded, looking for the hat trick, Hayden's in, he scores! John Hayden, a shorthanded goal, the hat trick for Haynes, 1:57 left in the second period, and it's 5-1 Coachella Valley.
I want to win that championship tonight, but I want to win it clean. Old-time hockey. Like when I got started, you know? Peters, Toe Blake, Dick Clapper, Eddie Shore, those guys were the greats.
Reg is our coach.
Yeah, sure, old-time hockey. Like Eddie Shore.
Yeah. Coach, our line starts?
Sure.
You were born to be hockey players. Every one of you. And you were meant to be here tonight. This is your time.
Greetings, friends, and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Fire and Ice, the official podcast of your Coachella Valley Firebirds, two-time defending Western Conference champions of the American Hockey League. Coming from Palm Desert, California, a mere Daniel Sprong figure eight away from the Birds' home ice of Acrisure Arena, I'm your host, Judd Spicer. Along with this bi-monthly podcast endeavor, also have the privilege and the pleasure in this third season of Birds Hockey of again serving as your Firebirds Insider. Those Firebirds Insider articles may be found online per all things CV Firebirds at cvfirebirds.com. That's your hockey home and your hub for everything, including tickets, merchandise, roster, community information. Again, cvfirebirds.com. Per the presenting sponsor of this endeavor, Desert Willow Golf Resort, right here in sunny Palm Desert, California, a mere 3+ miles away from the aforementioned Acrisure Arena. Love a good segue. Make it a great putt-to-puck day. Get your round down at Desert Willow, either the Mountain View or Firecliff course, and then skate it on over down Cook, hook it over to Varner, get in a Birds game over at Acrisure Arena. Oh, and you're poking around desertwillow.com. Also be sure to check out the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. They got your daily clinics, they got your signature golf schools, all your golf swing tutelage needs sure to be met at the Palm Desert Golf Academy. Not alone am I on this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast. Birds rookie Lleyton Roed going to be joining me here, making his debut on Fire and Ice. Going to be a little Minnesota-centric. I'll tell you that right now. Lleyton and I both MN natives, grew up about 15 minutes away from each other. He a native of White Bear Lake, Minnesota, played his college hockey at Bemidji State, now right here in the sunny Coachella Valley. Look forward to visiting with Lleyton here shortly. Prior to that, and even prior to this episode's Firebirds Freeze Frame segment, brief reflection on the recent All-Star Classic, dual days over at Acrisure Arena. For those that attended, hope you had a great time, as did I. For those that watched on national television, the NHL Network, or our friends to the north on TSN, thought it showed well. Thought it was a great showcase for the Birds and the Coachella Valley and Acrisure Arena. Super cool, very unique event. I think from the media perspective, perhaps the most fun and engaging part. Yes, we got a visit with Birds rookie and our representative, Yanni Newman, who availed himself quite well. Yanni, the youngest player, by the way, at 20 years old. There's one other 20-year-old, but he was the younger of the two. Youngest player in the entire event. All smiles in that Western Conference locker room. Totally beaming. Very, very proud to be there. And again, thought he represented the Birds and the franchise and our hometown very, very well. I think along with the visiting with Yanni, the other coolest part for the media, not just chatting with him, but chatting with players who are generally our foes. It was cool to get to sit down with some of these guys, for me personally, including but not limited to Ryan Suzuki, fine player, all-star, obviously. Seen him recently with Chicago Wolves. Going to see him again with Chicago Wolves, albeit that is on the road at the end of March for the Birds. Cool chatting with him. Grigory Denishenko, representative there from the Henderson Silver Knights. Birds will see him and the Silver Knights and their crazy Tron helmets again soon. We'll get to the schedule, but the Birds do play them this Wednesday in Henderson, Wednesday, February 12th. Enjoyed chatting with the Rain Train. Samuel Fagimo, been a Birds nemesis in recent years. Very, very pleasant guy. Certainly spoke with candor about the feeling that he and fellow Rain members have about last year's playoff sweep, something they certainly haven't forgotten. Also enjoyed chatting with Calgary Wranglers netminder Devin Cooley. Very, very pleasant guy to chat with, and like many netminders, kind of unique guy, a little bit different. Had a laugh about the fact that when he arrived in the Palm Springs airport, remember when Devin played for the Milwaukee Admirals, of course, Birds took down the Admirals in the Western Conference Finals each of the past 2 years. He was in net 2 years ago, and he said when he got in the Palm Springs airport, there was still a video loop playing of the Firebirds scoring on him, but in those Western Conference Finals, I think he was hoping that whoever runs that video may soon update the loop, get him off of there. Also couldn't help but notice with Devin Cooley, above his locker, he had a photo taped of a rabbit, a bunny. I think either one is applicable. He said that's his pet bunny. That's his pet rabbit, his good luck charm. And yeah, goalies can be weird like that. As mentioned, couldn't have been a more pleasant guy, couldn't have been a more engaging and enjoyable guy to speak with, Devin Cooley. So am I telling you, when we play Calgary here in Acrisure Arena, which we will here soon, first place Calgary as it stands now, by the way, am I telling you to throw a stuffed animal bunny on the ice when we score against the Wranglers and Devin Cooley? No, I'm not telling you to do that. But at the same time, am I telling you not to do that? Not really. No, you're smart fans. You're savvy fans. You're smart and savvy listeners. You'll make your own decision. But I don't think it would be the most unclassy move to throw a stuffed animal bunny on the ice when we score against Devin Cooley and the Calgary Wranglers. Anyway, that's it for the All-Star Classic. Had a blast. Thought that the arena and the Valley all showed very, very well for a national audience. All right, that's enough for the other teams. Per the most important team, per our team, the boys are on a heater. Firebirds on a heater, winners of 4 straight, currently 25, 15, 1, and 5. 46 games down, 26 to go in this third season of Birds hockey. Currently find CV tied in a virtual tie, as it were, for second place in the Pacific Division and tied for the second best record, virtually, in the entire Western Conference. A lot of Daniel Sprong, aforementioned Daniel Sprong, and his skating figure eights around other players in those power plays and the 3-on-3. Couple of back-to-back overtime game winners for Daniel Sprong to extend that win streak for the boys to 4 straight. Let's hope we keep him on the CV roster for as long as possible. Reference the schedule. Let's get to it more specifically. A lot of days off for the boys. That's good. Coming out of the All-Star break, get the rest on because the schedule is certainly going to get more vigorous as we dig deeper into February and then eventually the onset of March. This Wednesday on the road against the Henderson Silver Knights. Already told you that. Boys then come back to the barn for a 5-game Palm Desert homestand. That gets underway this Saturday night, Saturday, February 15th, at home against the San Diego Gulls. I could editorialize that and say the lowly San Diego Gulls. Well, we'll just say the San Diego Gulls. That is a 6 p.m. puck drop. First Responders Night at Acrisure Arena on Saturday the 15th, by the way. Wrap it around with back-to-back Sunday, February 16th, 5 p.m. start against Bakersfield. Couple of days off. The homestand then ensues next Wednesday, February the 19th, 7 p.m. start against the Tucson Roadrunners. Boys then finish out the homestand on Saturday. That is next Saturday, February 22, 6 p.m. start against those Calgary Wranglers. And then Sunday, February 23, 3 p.m. start at home against the San Jose Barracuda. Per the boys on the ice, Ben Myers, your leading scorer for the Firebirds thus far in the season. Ben having a great year with CV. 34 points on the year, 15 goals, coupled with 19 assists. That 4-game win streak, well, it has matched Ben's 4-game goal streak. Right behind him, talked about him already, Yanni Newman. 30 points on the year, 18 goals, that is a Birds team high, coupled with his 12 assists. Those 18 goals for 20-year-old Yanni lead all American Hockey League rookies. Logan Morrison, been heating up of late. 28 points on the season, 10 goals and 18 assists for Logan. Ryan Winterton 1 point behind with 27 points. This week's guest, Lleyton Roed, 24 points on the year, 11 goals and 13 assists for Lleyton. And then Max Lajoie, defenseman Max Lajoie, 24 points as well. He's got 3 goals, matched with a team-high 21 assists. Mentioned Daniel Sprong. Let's mention him again. He's played just 12 games. He's got 14 points for the Birds in those 12 games, matching 7-7, 7 goals and 7 assists. And Captain Max McCormick has not yet come back to the roster. He has been out since January 11. Played just 19 games thus far on the season. No update for you, I regret to inform. Don't have an update for you on Max's status. Safe to say that we hope to see him back here soon. He's the emotional and spiritual leader of CV, as is the captain. Per the netminders, more discussion here. Desert continues to go cuckoo for Coco. Nikkei Coco now 14, 3, and 1 on the year. Goals against of 2.37. Save percentage rising, now up to .912. Those 14 wins lead all NHL rookies. That GAA goals against of 237 leads all AHL rookies. That save percentage of .912 is second in the league among all AHL rookies. And I mean, the youngster, also a 20-year-old Finn, is playing so well that those metrics aren't just on the rookie charts anymore. Those 14 wins are tied for 7th in the entire American Hockey League, and that goals against is good for 10th in the entire AHL. Philip Grubauer, we have welcomed the man they call Gru recently, made 2 starts, his first in the AHL, by the way, since 2015, perhaps ironically when he did so with the Hershey Bears. He has started 2 games for the Birds. He has won both with a very slim goals against of 1.95 rather, and a stellar save percentage of .933. All right, dudes, all that offered, all that prefaced, let's get to this episode's visit of the Fire and Ice podcast with Lleyton Roed.
All right, Firebirds flock. As preface, my guest on this episode of Fire and Ice is a 22-year-old native of White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Played his college hockey at Bemidji State, where he was a Hobey Baker Award nominee. Signed by the Kraken unrestricted free agent last year, and we got a taste of his talents with 5 regular season games, 5 more in the playoffs this year. What has been a stellar rookie season, 45 games played in every game but one, I should add. 11 goals, 13 assists, a plus-minus, a +12 to the good. So also saw a nice heater from late December to late January, 7 goals in 12 games. Welcome Birds rookie Lleyton Roed to this podcast. Hello, Lleyton.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining, man. Let's start with this. Birds, of course, coming off the All-Star break, got in the game Friday past. Nice overtime victory over San Diego. But basically, that's the only game you guys have had or will have in about a 12-day stretch. How'd you spend that All-Star break, and how are you spending these days off?
Yeah, All-Star break was good. My girlfriend and I, we went up to San Diego actually for a couple days, and then we did Universal Studios in LA as well. So it was a good 3-4 day trip. Yeah, well spent.
Yeah. What'd you see at Universal Studios that jumped out to you?
We did everything. So, Harry Potter, kind of every ride, Despicable Me, the Mario, kind of everything. So it was pretty cool.
Okay. Anything that was your favorite, maybe?
The Jurassic World, it's a water, you got water rides, you got wet, but it was cool. It was cool.
All right. During the 2-day All-Star Classic, which was really cool. I don't know if you watched any of it on TV, or maybe it was nice just to get away from hockey a little bit. Did you check out any of it?
I caught most of the highlights. I didn't watch anything live, but I saw some highlights of it, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think of your teammate and fellow rookie Yanni Newman's performance?
Yeah, he looked good. He was soaking it up. The fans were loving it too, so that was good to see. Happy for Yanni.
Yeah. Had opportunity, and I opened the show with this, to speak with Yanni a little bit. He was all smiles, man. He was kind of beaming in that locker room, very excited, the youngest guy there. But also asked several of your divisional opponents, not just about the team in the arena and any rivalries with the Firebirds, but what they thought of Yanni Newman. Asked 4 or 5 guys the same question. And the first thing they all said was his size that really jumped out, that he is a big dude.
He is big, yeah.
What have you seen from him, experienced playing with him? He, too, obviously having a great rookie season. I was happy for him to get that All-Star nod.
Yeah, Yanni's a big power forward that can really score. So, he's had a great start to the season, and he's lethal on the power play with his one-timer. So, that's his go-to. But yeah, he's had a great start to the season, and hope he can keep it going.
As mentioned, we got a taste of Lleyton Roed's talents last year at the end of the season. This year, seeing the rookie campaign in full through 45 games played for you, 46 for the Birds. How would you assess your own performance in your rookie year thus far, Lleyton?
I think I'm pretty happy with it. There's a lot thrown at you. In your first year pro, you're learning a lot. You're just adapting to the new lifestyle. So I think it took me a little bit to learn just little details of the game, and I think I've done a good job with it, and I'm comfortable with where I'm at.
Are there any aspects in which you feel you've exceeded your own expectations thus far?
Maybe a little bit. From a production standpoint, maybe. But I've always been able to produce. I was interested to see how my speed would translate to this level, and I think it's been a good transition. But I've been happy with how I could produce and show I can score at this level as well. I think that's probably my biggest thing.
Yeah. Are there things in particular that you feel that you still got some work to do, things that you'd like to see yourself get better at?
Yeah, I think want to get stronger. Coming to the program, I'm a little undersized from average, but learning to use my speed to maybe get me out of some of those strength situations, I think can benefit me. So just a lot of it comes with positioning. So learning where to be, what to do in certain situations with my speed and strength. I mean, that's what you're gonna need to do to play in the NHL as well. So I think those are two big things.
Yeah, always interested to kind of find out or pick the brain. If you get bigger, can you still be as fast?
Yeah, I think there's a happy medium. You want to put on a few pounds, but I mean, you want to maintain your explosiveness and your skating. So I think putting on a few wouldn't affect it too much.
Yeah. And when talking about Lleyton Roed, that's generally the first thing that comes up is that is a particular talent and a particular strength of yours. How fast are you, Lleyton? Have you ever gauged it, or if so, how do you gauge that?
Uh, I've never speed lap. I've never measured it, so I don't know. That would have been fun to do at the game, but no, I mean, I've always been a pretty good skater. I mean, my dad kind of helped out my brothers and I with the skating, so I never really gauged it, but it's just always been my go-to thing. So I've leaned on it for all my career.
You kind of passed the baton to my next question, the fastest skater event. Nobody broke the record set. I want to say it was 2 years ago by Ethan Frank. Now of
Mhm.
the Caps, we saw him obviously a couple finals in a row with the Hershey Bears, and then he went on to defend his title in that
Yeah.
All-Star Skills event last year. Didn't break his own record, but he had the sub 13. You said you haven't gauged it or timed yourself, but do you think you could do the sub 13?
Um, what was the score this year? 13 and a half?
Yeah, I think that was the winning score. There were a
So,
couple other decimals or other numbers
yeah.
following
I
that.
I've never done it, but I like to think I could get around that 13, maybe just below. But like I said, I've never done it. It'd be fun to try.
Are you the fastest Firebird?
Uh, I'd
Don't
like to
be
say so. Yeah.
don't be modest. There's no
No,
room
yeah.
for modesty on the Fire and Ice podcast,
I'd like to say so.
man.
The boys always pump up my speed, so yeah.
Yeah, Yanni Newman, of course, was a late addition to the rosters and replaced Cale Fleury, but again, deservedly so. Yanni leads
Yeah.
all AHL rookies in goals, but he did compete. I think he got kind of thrown into the speed event. I
Yeah.
talked to him before the game and asked him, or the All Star Skills Challenge, and asked him, "Do you know what events you're going to compete in? Do you know which ones you'd want to compete in?" And I think because he was a late entry, he didn't really know. I'm not
Yeah.
sure that he expected to be in the fastest skater competition.
Yeah, he's probably looking to shoot some pucks more than skate. So yeah, I was probably surprised for him.
Again, he represented the Firebirds well across
Yeah.
those 2 days, and he was all smiles. As you said, Leighton, he got a great reception from the Acrisure Arena crowd. I want to ask you a question that I've asked a couple of your teammates. I think some fellas, or maybe everybody I've tried to ask, has struggled to answer. A little protective, a little defensive, and I think I understand why. But over the course of this season, we in the media, and I think fans as well, have tried to get a better sense of Derek Laxdal and what kind of coach he is and what kind of man he is. And we have so enjoyed speaking with him more and more over the course of the year. We know him to be a great guy. We know him to be a very experienced and veteran hockey mind by virtue of playing 20 years and now segueing directly from that into what is now a 20-year coaching career. But we did get to know his predecessor, Dan Bilesma, very, very well. Given that you've played for both of these guys, how do you compare and contrast these two coaching styles?
They're different, but the same at the same time. I mean, we stick with the same systems, so that helps from year to year. So, but they might portray it a little differently. Dan might be a little more energetic here and there, a little more free flowing, but Lax is a good coach. He's very structured. He likes hard practice, easy game. That's kind of his thing. So um, he's very structured. I mean, like you said, he's been around for a while, so he knows what to expect. And I mean, it's nice to have a coach that knows and he's seen everything. So like I said, he's very structured, and I mean, we'll do a lot of video, but both guys do a lot of video. Like I said, they're same but different at the same time.
Speaking of guys that have been around for a while, the Firebirds obviously have a wealth of young talent, rookie talent. I think 9 rookies have been on the ice in a Birds jersey this year, but we also have several experienced, savvy, very, very talented veterans Are there one or two of those guys in particular that have taken you under their bird's wing, either the last year or this year?
Yeah, I mean, coming in last year, I think John Hayden was probably the biggest guy to lean on. I mean, he's played in the NHL for a while, and now he's here with us. I mean, he's a pro's pro. I mean, he's first one on the ice, last one off. He's always in the gym. I mean, John's just a great human as well. So I think if I had to pick one guy that has kind of guided me, it'd be John. And I think all the guys would say the same thing. He's that pro. He's that guy for a lot of guys.
Yep, had it said nearly verbatim on the show at least a couple times. So John has been on here as well and hasn't said it himself. So he's broken the modesty rule on the Fire and Ice podcast. But we know what kind of guy he is. We know what kind of hockey player he is and what kind of influence he has been for now nearly 3 years to a lot of the younger Firebirds. Another veteran that we have welcomed more recently, Daniel Sprong. I mentioned his stats, kind of ridiculous. 12 games, he's got 14 points, 7 goals, including a couple of back-to-back overtime winners for the Birds in the last 2 victories. I mean, watching him, man, on the power play or the 3-on-3s in those overtime scenarios, he's kind of skating circles around everybody. That's not a criticism to anybody else, but for a guy that has scored nearly 90 NHL goals, we are seeing the difference when he is on the ice in those and other scenarios. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Spronger's proven to be an 20 goal guy in the NHL last couple of years. So I mean, he's definitely got that offensive burst whenever he wants to do it. And it's fun to watch.
Yeah, since he's been here, have you learned anything from him, taken anything from him in particular that you can apply to your own game?
I think just like offensive plays, like he sees everything. And I think with Spronger is he likes to talk about plays after they happen. He likes to watch video or talk through situations. Like, did you see me here? Did you see this? Like, he wants to know, like, hey, what did you see? So then we can learn and be better for the next time. I think Spronger's really good with that because, I mean, he sees the game offensively so well.
Friends, you are tuning in to the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. My guest is Birds rookie forward, Lleyton Roed. Lleyton, now we're going to get a little Minnesota-centric and family-centric with this portion of the chat. Do you remember last year when I introduced myself when we met for the first time, what I said to you? If you don't, that's okay. It was a quick chat, but
yeah, I don't. Especially last year, so much going on with me. Like I did.
No worries. I will remind you that I said when I was in high school in Minnesota, I remembered watching your dad, Peter Roed, play in the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. And then when you got signed and then you started playing here, I looked up your dad and I was like, dude, his dad's born in 76. Like I'm a year older than your dad. I don't, it made me feel like a little strange and a little old for some reason. But point being, I enjoyed watching your dad play. I remember your dad. Let's talk about Peter Roed a little bit. I mean, the league acronyms attached to his professional career are many. ECHL, WHL, UHL. He too played in the AHL, also played in Germany. All this across 8 years. Your dad was a high draft pick, man, obviously. 38th overall pick in the 95 draft by San Jose. Didn't make it to the NHL. Does your dad feel that? I mean, he had some great seasons in those other leagues. He scored a lot. Like, does it bother your dad that he didn't make it to the NHL? It's the most blunt way to ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would bother anybody if you're that close. But I mean, it's great that he went through all that, so then he can help guide me and my brothers. I mean, having a dad that's been through it all is really great. I mean, we've leaned on him for all of our lives, so I'm sure he's upset, but he's going to take what he learned and help us out.
Yeah, I mean, and you say us, we'll get to the us here shortly. Yeah. But between you and your dad, how are you guys similar as hockey players, and how are you different?
I think we're both good skaters. I might have a little more straight line speed than he did, but he was just as smooth, if not smoother. He probably had a little more smoother hands than me as well. But he probably thought the game more than I did. I think my speed kind of takes over everything. But yeah, we're similar but different, and I think my brothers are kind of hybrids of like everybody as well. So it's cool to see.
Okay, and your dad, when you were growing up, a couple things I want to acknowledge. I mean, he was your coach or an assistant coach on a lot of your youth teams at White Bear Lake and in the area.
Yeah, he would never be the head coach, but he was always helping out as an assistant. He didn't want to be all over us, but he would like to be there just to help out.
And to aid in your hockey pursuits and those of your brothers, whom we will again get to here shortly. You guys had a rink, not uncommon, of course, in the Twin Cities or throughout the state of hockey, but you guys had like a pretty cool rink in your backyard.
Yeah, since I was, oh gosh, probably 4, 5, he was building the rink in the backyard, and it was pretty awesome. Like it was 100, probably 110 feet by 60, so it was a big rink in the backyard, big boards. That's his thing. He went all out for us, so it's gotten better and better over the years too. I mean, this year he's sending me pictures all the time back home, and it's pretty legit.
He continues to do the rink.
Yeah, my youngest brother Nash is still at home, so he's the last one he's doing it for. So, like I said, that rink's his baby, so it's pretty cool.
Is it a pond style rink?
No, so he's always had big boards, big wood boards, and we'll lay down a big plastic tarp, and he'll flood around. Usually starts around Thanksgiving. The earliest we've skated is Thanksgiving, so yeah.
What does he do with those boards when the spring comes?
So we have a pretty big backyard, and then after our backyard is kind of like fescue or weeds. So he'll kind of hide them, lay them back there, throw a tarp over them, keep them out of the rain, and reuse them for as many years as you can. And then some, like 2 or 3 years ago, we had to get some new ones. The local rink we were at was actually getting rid of theirs, so we took those over.
I can imagine that there were some pretty dramatic games in your neighborhood and on that rink in your upbringing.
Oh yeah, especially with the brothers. Dad would get out there here and there, but like we have cousins. I have a girl cousin. She played for the University of Minnesota and Mankato, so she'd always be over. Neighbors, just the neighbor kids would come over just to skate. So we always had guys out there, and Mom always laced them up, tried to hang out with the guys. So it was always fun.
All right, let's delve deeper into the bloodline, and this does include your mom. So thank you for the segue.
Yeah.
The talents, the hockey talents on both sides, your mom and your dad, run deep. I want to make sure I got this right, Lleyton.
Yep.
We're going back to your great grandfather.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yep.
All right. Your great grandfather, he too attended White Bear Lake High School, and he played in the first ever Minnesota State hockey tournament back in 1945.
Yeah, first ever, which was 1945. White Bear had a team. There's probably 12 guys on there. Yeah, there's pictures in the rinks growing up of that first team. So yeah, he was on there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you ever have opportunity to meet him?
I did not meet him. No. My great grandparents on the other side, but not him.
Okay.
Yeah.
The skating talents continued. We obviously referenced your dad, Lleyton Roed. He played in the state tournament not once but twice with White Bear Lake.
Mm-hmm.
You played in the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament in 2019 with the Bears.
Yep.
And then one of your two younger brothers, Lleyton Roed, he's now in the USHL. He's a commit to St. Cloud State next year. He also participated in the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. I want to say it was last year. He too for White Bear Lake.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, last year.
So we've got a lot of history. We've got a lot of longevity, but we have no championships for the road bloodline. What's going on there?
I don't know. I mean, Dad had the most chances, so you should ask him. But yeah, we've all had a crack at it. I mean, my dad's brother Sean, he went once too. So that White Bear curse is there, but I mean, try not to think about it too much. It shouldn't be there because Mariner back in the day went to the semifinals, but it wasn't considered White Bear High School, it was White Bear Mariner. So people don't count that. So hopefully the younger one can get her done.
Okay. And I was going to ask about that, about the pressure. I'll ask about your brothers again in a moment. I do want to give some context to the event I mean, for those unaware, the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament is not just one of the best, pardon me, prep events in the country. It is one of the great sporting events in the world. I mean, last year there were about 140,000 people that attended over 4 days. And in the championship, Edina took down Chanhassen 2-1 in the Class AA last year. The attendance, there were 13 NHL games played that same night. I want to say it was March 9 of last year. The attendance for that Edina Chanhassen game usurped 12 of those 13 NHL games that were played on the same night. Standing room only of 20,346 people attended that championship game. Again, that's just some further context about the gravity of what it means in Minnesota. I mean, I have to imagine that among your family, when you get together, whether it be summer or the holidays, it's something that you guys revisit throughout your family, yeah?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty special. I mean, we played the 11 a.m. game my year, and there's 18,000 seats, and there was 18,000 people there. It was pretty awesome. I mean, you're skating out and warm ups at 10:30 in the morning, and it's packed. It's pretty special. So yeah, we like to reminisce and go look back at it.
Yeah. Do you think, in a sense, that helped kind of temper you for playing in front of 10,000 people now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that was the biggest game of my life at that point, and I mean, section final White Bear is pretty special too. That game's packed. It's almost louder than the state tournament game. So kind of all leads up, and it's stepping stones towards the bigger games in your career.
We've mentioned your brothers a few times, Lleyton Roed and Nash Roed. Compare and contrast yourself to your bros, your younger brothers, and how you guys might be similar or different.
Yeah, Nolan he's a true centerman. He's very good below the dots. He's a smooth skater, maybe not as fast, but very smooth, smart player. And then Nash he's kind of a hybrid. He's young, so he's got to grow into his game a little bit. But I mean, he's our size as a freshman, which is pretty cool to see. And he's been really great as a freshman on that high school team. He's way beyond where I was and Nolan was at the same age. So it'll be fun to track his progress.
Do you follow your brother's progress and their games and their results, and maybe stream some of their things?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm always calling them or watching their games on streams. It's nice because Nolan's games are on Flow Hockey as well, so it's pretty easy. And then Nash is usually on YouTube streamed, so if I can, I'm always watching.
When you watch and then talk with them after, do you guys have a habit of critiquing one another?
A little bit. I think we all know if we played good or bad, but I like to pick their brains, like, hey, how do you think you did? And then they're honest with you, and I could have done this, could have done that, but no, it's nothing too bad.
And what about when they watch Firebirds games and then contact you? Are they a little harsher in their assessment, or are they pretty easy on you?
No, they're not too bad either. I mean, they can't really be, until they play a pro game, they can't really say much. So that's what I always tell them.
I'll ask you lastly, and this kind of goes back to your dad. And it's not a criticism of your dad. He had an excellent career. He played 8 years of pro hockey. But
Yeah.
do you feel like, whether playfully or in earnest, that you have fun and tell your dad that I'm going to get to the NHL, I'm going to get that NHL game under my belt?
Yeah, I mean, you like to jokingly say that, but at the same time, he's pulling for you almost harder than you're pulling for yourself. And that's just how he's always been too. So I don't think he cares about if he played one pro game or 8 years. If I play in the NHL, he's going to be more than happy.
Well, you keep playing like you have been, Lleyton, and you are certainly on the path, a speedy one in your case in particular, on the path to the National Hockey League. Lleyton Roed, so appreciative of your time, man. Good chatting about the Birds, good chatting about the hockey tournament, and good chatting about Minnesota. Continued success as we enter the home stretch of the Firebird season, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah, take it easy.
All right, Firebirds friends, it's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. So appreciative of your time your interest, your ears, your ongoing support of this endeavor. Equal thanks go to this episode's guest, Birds rookie, White Bear Lake, Minnesota native Lleyton Roed, and equal appreciation goes to the presenting sponsor of this endeavor, Desert Willow Golf Resort, right here in sunny Palm Desert, California. Recently charted, by the way, if I didn't mention so before, on the Golf Week list, top 200 resort courses in the country. Desert Willow made that list yet again, an annual accolade, annual nod, deservedly so. The Firecliff course made that list. Get those tee times for the Firecliff or the Mountain View courses at desertwillow.com. And when you're on there, again, you want to get better, you want some swing study, you need some expert tutelage, the on-site and awesome Palm Desert Golf Academy. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Boys trending at the right time. Again, winners of 4 in a row. Aim to make it 5 when they play Henderson this Wednesday, and then see how far they can take that win streak when they get back to Palm Desert and Acrisure Arena for a 5-game homestand, that gets underway this Saturday, the 15th, against the San Diego Gulls. Look forward to seeing you over there at the Birds Barn. Until then, and always, remember, one valley, one team, rising together.